They won't clap for you now. They won't believe in you now. They won't even look your way until the battle is won and the blood has dried on your knuckles. You will cry in silence, you will break in silence, and you will rise in silence. You will have nights where the only voice you hear is your own telling you to quit. Don't you dare listen. The world isn't coming to save you. Nobody is obligated to understand your dream, and comfort will seduce you into mediocrity if you let it. You have to walk the road alone, because that's where strength is born, where resilience is forged, and where destiny is decided. You will carry the weight without applause, without help, without validation. That's the price of greatness. Loneliness before recognition. Do it for the version of you that refused to settle, the one who dared to believe when no one else did. Do it alone. Because if you can stand unshaken without the crowd, then when the crowd comes, they'll never be able to shake you. Strength grows in isolation, not in comfort. You don't build muscle in a warm bed. You build it in the cold mornings when your body screams for more sleep, but you stand up anyway. You don't develop mental resilience when everyone is patting you on the back. You develop it when no one notices you're grinding, when the only reward you get is the echo of your own breathing in an empty room. Isolation strips away illusions. It takes away the crutches of constant approval and the soft cushions of other people's opinions. In comfort, you are surrounded by warmth, validation, and ease, but none of that forces you to evolve. Comfort whispers, you're fine where you are. Isolation shouts, you are not enough yet. Become more. When you are alone, the noise of the world disappears and the brutal truth of your weaknesses stares you in the face. That's why it's uncomfortable. It exposes you. But in that exposure is your chance to build something unshakable. You start talking to yourself differently. In isolation, you start realizing that no one is coming to push you. No one is coming to lift the weight for you. No one is going to hand you the life you want. It's on you completely. And the beauty of isolation is that it gives you no escape from that truth. People love comfort because it hides reality. It gives them excuses. In comfort, you can blame the environment, the people around you, the lack of opportunity. But when you are alone, there is nowhere to point the finger except at yourself. This is where the real transformation begins. The body adapts under stress. The mind evolves under pressure. The spirit hardens under solitude. And that process is never easy. It's painful, it's exhausting, and it's lonely. But so is staying weak. You see, comfort is seductive. It promises rest, happiness, and peace, but it delivers stagnation, decay, and regret. When you avoid discomfort, you avoid growth. The isolation phase forces you to sit with your fears, your insecurities, and your failures until you either break or get stronger. You begin to discover who you truly are, not the version people think you are, but the raw, unfiltered you that surfaces when no one is watching. Every person you admire, every champion, every leader, every visionary, at some point they walked the road of isolation. They didn't wait for permission. They didn't wait for a support system. They didn't wait for a perfect moment. They moved when it hurt, when it was quiet, when no one cared. And that's the difference between those who talk about dreams and those who live them. Comfort will tell you to stay where it's warm, where it's safe, where you don't have to risk your pride. But isolation teaches you that pride is worthless without results. You can't fake strength when it's just you against yourself. You either have it or you don't. And if you don't, isolation will force you to build it piece by piece through discipline, sacrifice, and relentless action. You won't have people cheering you on every day. You won't have applause after every move. You will have doubt. You will have fear. You will have moments where quitting feels like the smartest option, but you must learn to keep going without external fuel. That's when you become unstoppable, when your fire doesn't need oxygen from anyone else. Strength built in isolation has a different weight to it. It's not fragile. It doesn't shatter under criticism or collapse under pressure. It's the kind of strength that carries you through storms because it was forged in darkness without any hand to hold. The person who survives the isolation phase becomes immune to the world's distractions. They no longer seek comfort, they seek challenge. They no longer need approval, they approve of themselves. They no longer fear being alone, they thrive in it. And here's the truth. If you can master yourself in isolation, you will dominate when you step back into the world because you'll have already fought the hardest battle, the one against your own weakness. You'll understand that comfort was never your friend, it was the cage. Isolation was the key, and you had it all along. That's why strength grows there, because there's nothing else left to depend on but the part of you that refuses to break. No one owes you support. Earn it. This is one of the hardest truths you'll ever swallow, but it's the one that will set you free. Too many people sit around waiting for others to cheer for them, waiting for someone to notice their potential, waiting for a helping hand to pull them up. But life doesn't work like that. Nobody is sitting at home thinking about how they can make your dreams come true. The harsh reality is that everyone is busy with their own battles, their own problems, their own survival. And why should they drop everything to carry you when you haven't even proven that you can carry yourself? The moment you stop expecting the world to give you a push and start taking steps on your own, you take back control. You stop being a victim and you start being a force. People respect results, not requests. They respond to action, not desperation. If you want support, show them something worth supporting. It's easy to ask for help, but the real challenge is becoming the type of person who inspires others to give it willingly. That means putting in the work when no one's watching, being consistent when it's boring, and proving through action that you are serious about what you say you want. The world doesn't owe you applause just because you have ambition. Ambition is cheap. Everyone has it. What's rare is execution, discipline, and a track record that shows you can do what you say. That's when people start to notice. That's when they think, this person is going somewhere, I want to be part of it. But until then, you have to accept the loneliness of building before the recognition comes. Stop resenting people for not helping you. You are not entitled to their time, their energy, or their resources. The moment you let go of that entitlement, you start focusing on what you can control, your effort, your persistence, and your ability to create results without a safety net. You have to think like a warrior. A warrior doesn't expect the world to feed him, he hunts. He doesn't wait for the right conditions, he fights in the mud if he has to. And when he wins enough battles, people naturally follow him because strength attracts loyalty. But loyalty is earned through proof, not pity. Every hour you spend complaining about who isn't supporting you is an hour you could spend building something so undeniable that support becomes unavoidable. Success is magnetic, but only when it's real. You can't fake progress forever. Eventually, people will see through it. If you want others to invest in you, you must first invest in yourself with everything you've got. That means showing up even when you're tired, working when you feel uninspired, and refusing to lower your standards just because no one is watching. The truth is, the moment you start creating results on your own, you'll notice something. The support you wanted will start to appear. But by then, you won't even need it. And that's the best position you can be in. You'll realize that you never needed permission or approval. You just needed proof that you could do it. That proof is built one small victory at a time. And yes, it will be lonely at first. It will feel unfair. You will watch other people get help and wonder why no one is doing the same for you. But here's the reality. You don't see the whole picture. You don't see the years they put in before they got their break. You don't see the times they failed without an audience. You don't see the nights they sat alone with nothing but their own determination keeping them alive. Stop comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. Earn your place. Earn your reputation. Earn your support by being so relentless, so disciplined, so obsessed with your craft that people can't ignore you even if they want to. And when that support finally comes, you'll appreciate it more, you'll use it wisely, and you'll never be dependent on it. Because the foundation will already be built by your own hands. In the end, the ones who succeed are not the ones who waited for someone to believe in them. They're the ones who believed in themselves long enough for the world to catch up. No one owes you support. Earn it. And when you do, you'll never have to beg for it again. Silence is the training ground for greatness. In a world drowning in noise, distractions, and endless opinions, silence is where the real work is done. When the chatter stops, when the clapping fades, when the voices telling you what you should or shouldn't do disappear, you are left with something raw and unfiltered. Yourself. And that's where greatness begins. Because in silence, there's nowhere to hide. No excuses, no audience, no validation, just the reality of where you are versus where you want to be. It's uncomfortable at first because we've been conditioned to seek noise. We scroll, we talk, we fill the air with anything that keeps us from confronting the truth about our progress, our habits, and our weaknesses. But in silence, every flaw is exposed and every excuse sounds hollow. That's why most people avoid it. They don't want to face themselves. Yet the champions, the leaders, the visionaries, they seek it. They know that the best ideas, the deepest clarity, and the strongest discipline are born when the world is shut out and the mind is sharpened in solitude. Silence is not the absence of work. It's the environment where the real work thrives. You don't see a seed growing. but it's pushing roots deep into the soil in complete quiet. You don't hear the bones of a fighter strengthening, but they're hardening every day he trains alone without applause. Silence forces you to train without the dopamine rush of recognition. It forces you to stay committed without anyone telling you good job. And that's the test. Can you still show up when there's no one to impress? Can you keep grinding when no one is clapping? That's where greatness is born. Because it's in those quiet hours that you build a foundation too strong to be shaken by public opinion. When you finally step into the spotlight, the strength you carry is not from the moment the crowd cheered. It's from the countless hours in silence when you kept going without them. Silence also teaches you to listen, not to others, but to yourself. It's in the quiet that you hear your instincts clearly. You can tell the difference between what you really want and what you've been told to want. You can spot the distractions disguised as opportunities. You can see the path ahead without the fog of constant noise clouding your vision. But here's the catch. Silence is not passive. You can't just sit in it and expect magic. It's active, deliberate, and intentional. It's you making the choice to tune out the world so you can tune in to your mission. That might mean early mornings when everyone else is asleep, late nights when everyone else is winding down, or disappearing for days to work on something without telling a soul. And at times, it will be lonely. You will question whether it's worth it. You will see others enjoying the spotlight while you are buried in preparation. But what they don't realize is that the silence you endured today is the weapon you'll wield tomorrow. The crowd only sees the performance. Silence is where you built the performer. Look at history's greatest warriors, artists, and innovators. They didn't create their masterpieces in the middle of chaos. They carved them out in solitude. The boxer shadow boxes alone. The writer fills pages in a quiet room. The visionary sketches plans no one understands until years later. Greatness is not born in the noise, it's revealed there. It's born in the silence that shapes you, tests you, and strips away everything that doesn't belong. And when you've trained in silence long enough, you become dangerous in the best way possible, because you no longer need the world to validate your moves. You know what you've built. You know the hours you've paid in advance. And you carry that certainty into every challenge. Most people want greatness without the silence. They want the results without the unseen work. They want the spotlight without the shadows. But you can't skip the shadows. That's where the light gets its power. If you can discipline yourself to embrace silence, not as a punishment, but as a privilege, you'll develop a focus that makes you unstoppable. You'll find that when you finally speak, when you finally act, it carries weight because it's coming from a place of depth, not desperation. The noise of the world is endless, and if you let it, it will drain you before you even begin. But silence, that's where you refill, rebuild, and reforge yourself into someone who doesn't just survive the noise, but commands it when the time comes. Silence is the training ground for greatness. If you can win there, you can win anywhere. And when the day comes that you step out of that silence, you will walk differently, not because you've suddenly become someone else, but because the person you forged in the quiet is unshakable. You'll carry a calm confidence that doesn't need to shout, a presence that doesn't beg for attention, and a strength that doesn't crumble under pressure. The world will wonder where you came from, how you became so focused, so disciplined, so untouchable. And they'll never know it was built in the hours they never saw. They will see the results, but they will never truly understand the process because silence keeps its secrets. That's the beauty of it. Your growth will speak for itself. In the end, you won't thank the noise for your success. You'll thank the silence for giving you the space to build it. Because in that quiet, you learned the most important lesson. You never needed permission, applause, or recognition. You only needed the discipline to keep going. And when you understand that, you stop chasing greatness and start becoming it. That's the power of silence. It doesn't just prepare you for the world. It transforms you into someone the world can't ignore.